Broadcast live.
What's up, my bro?
I'm good.
You good?
How you doing?
Welcome.
Thank you so much.
You
Thank
know
you very
what it
much.
is.
Yeah.
We out here, the homie Manana.
Yeah.
You know what it is.
Yeah.
Cool. We can walk in.
Oh.
Is that
great.
mad? Dry. Anyway, it is what it is. We're building a castle out here.
Alrighty.
We're sitting on top of someone's castle.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Looks quite artsy.
Yeah, my son and my daughter were busy.
Oh,
We're
snap.
busy doing something this weekend, you know?
Oh, yeah.
How you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
Easy going?
Thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. I mean, would I say it's long overdue, or is it like, or should I say that like, it's necessary?
Rather necessary. I think I'm new, so
Yeah.
I definitely needed to earn my way into the seat, you know?
Yeah.
Before I can say it's long overdue, but definitely necessary.
Yeah, necessary felt right. Necessary felt right.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
How you doing, man?
I'm good. I think I'm better than I was 2 months ago. Music is out, so you know, I'm good. I think I'm good. Yeah.
How's the response to the album been though? Do you even call it an album? Is it an EP? You know.
Look, it's supposed to be an EP, but we strategically make it long enough to be considered an album, so that you know the people consider it for playlisting and all that kind of stuff. EP for me though, it's been really good. People are very kind. I think obviously like I'm making music that I like to make. I think that's priority number one. So when it comes to like listeners and you know people responding to it, I think it can be disheartening sometimes. But this has been really good, really good.
Have you experienced disheartening moments though in your journey of releasing music or just like performing music?
Yeah, I think maybe disheartening is strong, but like I think sometimes, you know, you'll release something and you're like, yo, man, I really back this. Or let me say, I released this thing and I'll be like, yo, I really back this. Or certain songs I really back. And then another song that I didn't expect to really do anything ends up being loved more than the one I thought would be the one, you know? Like with my first project, in the beginning was the end, the song that I thought people would like was a song called If You're Here, There's Nowhere I Need to Go.
Yeah.
It's like one of my favorite songs I've ever written. But people were like, nice. And then the other songs that I thought, you know what, this is just like my mind on a page, like all I seek, and people ended up really liking that one. So, you know, yeah, I guess it's good with a bad left foot, right foot, you know.
The reason why I ask is because, you know, when I started getting schooled about you, and then I started looking for you on Instagram, and I was like, but this guy isn't a whole artist. Why does he have a private page, you know? So I don't understand. I was like, you know, when you're an artist, you want people to either engage with you, you want to see who's engaging with your stuff, you know? I mean, obviously you can see from the outside, but you also want people to access you, right? I'm assuming. So I was wondering, I was like, what is the protective layer that you covering in that private page? If there is that, if it's on purpose.
Look, it wasn't even on purpose.
You just don't know how this shit works. I'm joking. I got it. Private.
Look, like, firstly, like, I mean, this is shocking for me, someone of my age to say, but there's certain things I don't know how they work. I don't know how Twitter works. I have no idea how TikTok works. I don't know. You know, Instagram, however, is the one place where I thought I had a handle. I clearly don't. And to be honest, I'm just not convinced yet. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm not convinced that I need to think wisely here, how I say this. I'm not convinced that the social interaction with me as a person or as an artist would convince you more or less to listen to my music. I think the hype can maybe draw you in, but I don't know if it'll keep you, especially when it comes to music. Because for me, priority number one has always been about making music that people want to hear, buy tickets to, if merch comes out, buy merch. And it's been slow and steady growth, but people are proving that if they love the music enough, they don't care what you ate or what you're doing tomorrow, or I mean, other than a show, obviously. So I kind of use it primarily for that. Like, I'm releasing music, releasing a video, I'm releasing tickets for a show, you know? And for me, with people that I speak to, management or label, I always tell them priority is making sure that listenership and like the streams and people hearing the music is always much higher than my following on Instagram or Twitter or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I feel as though people also love to follow you and not necessarily love you, you know?
Yeah.
So I know I'm talking too much, but I'm very passionate about this. So for my thing is like, if I can grab the few people that actually will listen to the song 150 times, I'd rather have those people, you know?
That comes down to my next question. I mean, you pretty you articulate love in various ways in your songs, and it sounds genuine, it sounds sincere. How important is it for you? I mean, I'm not even talking about just personal love, but just like that energy of like, this is real. How important is that to you in an industry that obviously like is I always say the industry like it always treats you based on is a trendy industry. It's a very fickle industry, right?
Yeah.
So how important is that? And playing in this game, how far do you dip your foot into the trendy industry and just the creative musician? Do you know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense.
I get you. It's honestly like it's the most important thing. The authenticity for me is the most important thing. Whenever someone comes to me with either an opportunity or would love to work with me, or I meet them, my first thing is, are you like real? Like, can we sit and break bread together? Can we sit and just chat? Like, just be easy. I say to a close friend and manager of mine, Mzwa, is the person like we just wanna be, you know, like in the studio, you know, wherever we are, like. And for me, that, like you're saying, comes through in the music, because honestly, like this industry is full of, like you're saying, fickle. People lie a lot. They lie unprovoked. And I think that it's still to this day, shamelessly. And it gets to me. Like it genuinely gets to me that we can get into a space with people, and especially in our context, like I think, you know, as African people, there's a context that we have here that is important, you know, like Singabantu, so like we should treat each other as such, you know, outside of what you can offer. You know.
Hasn't that also, I mean, there's a perspective, you know, I always go, I really love the music, but I can always happily love the music if I understand the game, you know, because if I just love the music, which happened to me, if I just love the music, I start hating the music because I can't live, you know, I can't eat the music, you know what I mean? So I've always said that, like, I gotta be able to live, and being able to live is knowing the game. But like, I mean, you've, with that perspective, obviously, has that, have you kind of walked away or sometimes kind of gone, I think that could have been this opportunity, but the energy just wasn't there, or it wasn't truthful, not only just from what you were receiving, but to me too, it just wasn't, which is the most important truth, right?
Yeah. To be honest, like it hasn't come to that point yet. I think conversations happen. We've had conversations with different people, and I think the way that me and my team move and the way that I speak scares people off, because they know that I think also, like, when it comes to feeding yourself off music, the perspective of you yourself, like the longevity of that is so important. I think a lot of the time right now what's happening is brands and people will attach themselves to a name to make from their name without necessarily caring for the brand that they're working with, you know what I'm saying? So for me, I mean, look, it doesn't ever get to the stage where it's so far that I have to say no because I don't believe in something. But like the perspective I have on the music and the music career is the perspective I have on how we're gonna eat off it. Because music is this whole business where it's multi, you know, streams, so many streams of income that are possible. You can be rich from it, but you need to be thinking about a long game, you know, longevity. So that's kind of been I guess the focus. I don't know if that answers the question.
It does. I mean, for a person who wrote a song like Patiently, you know, you speak with a lot of patience. At this point, you speak with a lot of patience, but like, what happened on the day you wrote that song that never gave you this kind of that answer is a clear answer. Sounds like a person that's got clarity. But what was going on the days leading to even writing a song like that, where it sounds, the irony is that like it's patiently, but it sounds impatient. Yeah.
Yo, what led to that? So many things. But the biggest thing was actually in the second verse when I say counting other people's money.
That's the most powerful line as a side note.
You know,
because that's what we all that's what everybody does.
You look at what you've done and it isn't enough because someone else is doing better or got more. And I think that's what
you're counting their money through their Instagram.
You know what I'm saying?
Must
like,
be
exactly.
This might be
this post. I'm sure is you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It was that thing. You know, you see because of social media. Social media has done a lot for us in the industry, right? But at the same time, any moment you think, okay, let me just take a break quickly, just to, all of a sudden you see someone else isn't taking a break and they're on this. In East Africa now is a place where people are going, people are making this money, people are doing, you know what I'm saying? So I think I saw a lot of that. Also, obviously, because of my songwriting and back-end music involvement, I also obviously know a lot of industry things and I hear stories. And the conversations I've had, a lot of the time, especially when I got to Joburg initially, the chat was, okay, cool, your music is dope and everything, but can you like do a house song? Like, can you get on a Chrome track or whatever? And I'm like, cool, fam, I love it. I love the music and I'll do it. But at the same time, like I want the introduction to, you know, people hearing me would be, you know, this sound that I make. So a lot of that, you know, industry chats. How are you gonna, you know, sell the sound? This person is doing this and you're busy doing this. You know what I'm saying? And I think you believe in yourself and then people just chisel away at that belief slowly but surely. And then at some point you also think, yo, maybe people are right. And then you hear, yo, this person just did this and this, and you're like, yo, what am I doing with my life, you know? And that's where I was when that song, and me and a friend of mine at the time, still a friend of mine, a really good friend of mine, were in the same position where we were like, we're not getting any younger. I'm not old, nowhere near, but I'm not getting any younger. And you know, music industry isn't kind to anyone over the age of 25 these days, you know? So it's like, yeah, you know.
It's funny. I was watching a series, The Man That Fell on Earth or something like that.
I'm watching that. I'm watching that right now. Today I watched, yeah.
Okay, dope. And the old man goes, we all, he says something in the nature of like, we all think that we have longer than we have, you know, so, so when are you old, when are you young? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you know?
That's true.
That's
true.
Yeah. Anyway, I watched the last episode last night, so I was just like,
I watched episode 9. I'm still waiting for that last episode.
Wait, episode 9? Yeah.
No, it came out. It's 10. 10
yeah.
So I was saving it for later. Yeah, yo, and actually to that point, I'm like, yo, look, there are a lot of artists in R&B and in the industry actually that are, you know, old, quote unquote, that came into the industry old, that I think have been motivating me as well. So I'm seeing a lot of artists that people actually don't know how old they are, but these people are old, you know?
Yeah.
Music old.
Yeah.
And
music old. It's like dog years. Dog old.
Exactly. So it's really encouraging to see. Also, I'm seeing people who I grew up watching and admiring in music also transitioning into different parts of their careers, which for me is really important because I do think that, you know, certain things in music are a young person's game anyway. So, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think R&B is particularly what you're doing. It's very, it's got longevity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, you could take this to, damn, the Isley Brothers, the Manhattans are still dropping music. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just the song just has to be right. It's just whether, that's another thing also. You're saying that I want to sell myself off the music. When you do open the can of worms of social media, you get an audience that literally follows you basically because of trend.
Yeah.
So as long as you have an audience that that grows with you because of your music, you'll know when you never did right if they don't follow you, because it's just the source. You know, so that you literally playing the long game just by doing that.
And look, it sounds nice. It sounds beautiful to say it. And I think that's the point of a lot of the stuff that, you know, like you hear on my music, is that it's easy to say it actually. But to do it, I don't wanna lie, it's been tough. But I don't wanna lie at the same time. Saying I don't wanna lie a lot.
I hope you know. You just talked about lies in the industry. Jeez.
No. I try to pride myself in being as truthful as possible. So look, this music thing, man. Yeah, sure. Sorry, I can meditate for.
Come back. But that's the thing I wanted to say though, is that you know, when your name comes with Grammy, you know, when does the everything in life, I think just of my experience, you can literally say you want R1 million, you get R1 million, and then next month you just like, it's like, you know, like there's something. It's almost like, you know, the thrill goes, you know? So you have the thrill of, okay, cool, that's my name associated with that, right? What do you see when the reality kicks in, you go, okay, but like, it's moved from becoming this big thing to becoming just my journey. It's all, you know, and let me give you an analogy. It's like when you see food, like when you look at the food and you go, that looks good. And then when you eat it, and then you've forgotten you eat it. You know what I mean?
That's a brilliant analogy. To be honest, I would say almost as immediate as that food.
You crazy.
For real. Like, as soon as the news comes in, first it's like, whoa, like, this is crazy. Like, you know, like everyone always says, you know, people work all their lives to reach this goal. I'm like, yeah, you know, it's so crazy.
Is my life over?
Yeah. I'm sitting and I'm like, bruh, like in life now, when I wake up day to day, like what's changed? Nothing.
Yeah.
I'm still going to the studio 3 or 4 times a week. I'm still getting into rooms where no one, I mean, music, you know music.
Yeah.
People, I mean, for you, I'm sure that's happened in a while, but you walk into a room and if you can't help me do what I want to do, why do you matter? You know, I'm still in spaces like that regularly. After that, regularly in spaces like that where it takes a few calls before someone sees you, it takes a few notes, you know, before someone's like, hey man, so what do you do? You know, kind of vibe. So nothing much changes, other than the fact that I was really inspired by the team, everyone involved. The Sauti Soul guys who got me even into the sessions to do the songs, Burna Boy, who won the album of the year for that project. Like I was hit. After that, I was like, yo guys, this thing isn't far. I mean, it's work, but it's not far, you know? So I think, yeah, that's probably the one thing in the journey that's now looking, you know, even with that in the back, it's like, okay, cool, this thing is, it's close.
It's, so it almost goes, because that is, I guess, in music, in the world, you know, it's like the peak, you know, the highest peak, you know what I mean? And you kind of go back and you go, okay, cool. It's dissolved. Now, how do I work it backwards into my life?
Yeah, hey.
And has that been also like part of the journey of the impatience, I guess? It's like, now that you know, okay, this is a broader thing, but how do I actually own it and work it back into my life? You know, does that also become a bit overwhelming?
I went down this rabbit hole where I was watching like Vince Staples. I love watching people's interviews just to kind of see, you know, it's interesting to see obviously the artist, you know, music is like this or whatever, and then you see the person talking. And I find that after an interview, I either love a project more or less, just depending on the person. I'm sure we all do that. Yeah, so I was watching a lot of Vince Staples interviews, and he was talking about how, like, I think the social media and electronic and digital space has kind of made us look at numbers differently. Like now, anything between 10 and 100,000 isn't a lot of people. But if you had to see that many people in a space, you'd be like, oh, that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
So how are you gonna discredit that? Like right now, I've got people that listen to my music and tell me that they listen to my music and come to me and tell me about stories about how this song changed this, and how am I gonna look down on that because I want a Grammy or I want more. And I do. Don't get me wrong, I'm ambitious and I do want more. I think more is possible. But at the same time, just have a sober reality, soberness of self, and sober to see that, look, 10,000, if I could get 10,000 people to listen to my music every week, that's not a little. It's not the most you can get, but it's not a little, it's not nothing. So also just having that kind of, settled me to so I can pour like and just, have perspective as well. That, yeah.
10,000 people are choosing you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they really don't have to. They really don't.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing that you talked about when we were at your listening session, I think it was to be like the intro, right? The opening track. You mentioned that like that song was written for somebody. Who did you write the song for? If you don't mind sharing.
Look, to be honest, it's not even about
it's a
minding
pitch.
to share.
I guess it's pitching, yeah.
It's just like the songs, a lot of them come from so many different pieces of life.
Yeah.
So that song, the phrase came from is it Summer Vibe? It came from.
It's Summer Vibe, not Outside. It's Summer Vibe.
Yeah, Summer Vibe. Yeah. So sitting these steps, missing our Summer Vibe. The story came from one of the guys that we were working with on production for the song. That line alone was from like years ago. And I remember that story about, oh snap, this guy missing this person, And now then I take it into the context of, this lockdown situation that we were in. So that's kind of what I do with a lot of stories. So it's literally like so many people involved in one song, so many people's lives who are close to me and they don't know it actually. And I put it into a song because I feel like, logically speaking, that makes sense, right? If more people are in one song, I'm sure there are more people going to relate to the story, you know what I mean? So that's kind of what Summer Vibe is about. It's not even about one person, it's about a few.
Yeah. All right, no, I thought that you'd preached it to somebody and they never picked it up and you're like, thank God. That's how I understood the story. That's how I understood the story. I mean, Outside, when I was listening to Outside, I just thought that obviously this project must have been started within the COVID period. You know what I mean? At the time, obviously everybody is creating actually. You know what I mean? You're either under the pressure of, okay, let me also be seen during this time. I mean, they're COVID stars, you know what I mean? Because of that. Weren't you under any pressure just like, okay, let me also be in this space right now and position myself there, How did you pace yourself with regards to working on this project, say this is the timeline, And was there a goal to actually eventually do a project, or were you just in stew?
It started like that. I was just in stew. When things opened up enough for I think one or two people in an office space or whatever it was, I got into studio, and I've told the story with so many people around me that when I started actually working on the project, I had no clue, hey. As far as the production side of stuff is concerned, I couldn't open a door, I couldn't record a vocal, I wouldn't be able to pull up a plugin, I had no clue. And I sat with the engineer, producer Max on production. And he literally gave me a tutorial for 4 months straight where I was going in 3 times a week. He's like, this is how you do this, this is how you do this, this is how you do that. And for me, as much as that wasn't front-end content, it was, by the time we started working on songs, literally the songs were coming out song a day, literally song a day. And it wasn't even pressure, it was just what was happening. Just because there were no gigs to go to, we weren't performing anywhere, there's no work in that space. The creation, and the workflow was where I think I felt pressure. I didn't want to leave lockdown or whatever. When I left lockdown, I needed to be able to vocal engineer someone, you know what I mean? Or produce, if someone's like, yo, so you're a producer, yo boy, can you produce a song from scratch? You know what I'm saying? I think for me, the one thing I don't want to be caught out in is say that you are something and then someone's like, yo, my brother, I see on your bio it says producer, whatever. Can you just produce quickly? And you're like, yo, it's tough. Can let me call my boy who actually is the producer. So yeah.
I mean, that's, for me, for the kind of catalog you have, I'm shocked that you only learned how to operate the system.
Yeah.
So where does the sing come from? You know, where does the sing come from?
Started in the Drakensberg Boys Choir School.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. Went to the Drakensberg Boys Choir School in the early 2000s. And from there, that was the only option here. I did a few years in KZN in the Drakensberg. Then I went to study. I continued with music in high school and then studied music in university as well, studied jazz.
Wow.
So from the moment, actually, from the first year that I was in the Drakensberg, I think even my parents, like one of the few black parents that backed me going into music. So they pushed me into singing, and from there, it was the only option.
You naturally could sing, or was it is it something that you learned extra? How was it? You know, I mean, if your parents backed you up, I'm assuming that you could naturally sing.
I think I had something,
yeah,
but I don't think I was ever that good, if I'm honest. I think without the teachers, I had so many good teachers, so many good choir teachers, so many good singing teachers. Without them, I mean, even now, like there are people who are in the industry who are my like peers and colleagues who are much better singers than I am. So I know that being here is because of the teaching and the education. Without it,
I mean, the writing then, when does the writing come in? Because obviously you also write pretty well. You know, you can be a great singer and you can do cover songs sharp. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but the writing also is potent, you know?
Appreciate that.
When do you start writing your own song? What is your first song that you write?
The first song is probably a song called, I'm gonna say the first song I think was good. Because I wrote a whole lot of rubbish, but I think the first song was either a song called Voice Message or Hey Now. Those are the first songs that I kind of was like, actually, let me try this writing thing, you know? And at the time, I had then just met my then girlfriend, now wife, and I was like, yo, let me write, you know, a romantic something. And it wasn't so bad.
Yeah.
So from there, I was like, okay, cool, I can try this thing out. And honestly, songwriting I've always respected because I think people think it's easy to write a beautiful song because it's easy to listen to it.
Of course.
So I think that's always been the trick for me, you know, trying to balance school also, hey, this theory is wrong, this is whatever, and just trying to make beautiful music, you know?
Yeah.
So that's the first time.
How critical is your girlfriend who turned to your wife, to your music? Because it seems like she's been through the journey and she knows, I know I know you going, this is your mannerism when you sing. You know, how critical is she to your music, or at least the feedback?
You mean critical, like how?
Yeah, constructive, or I mean, how much because you know, I mean, I think that the person that knows you the most can almost go, you're starting to sound like the same here, and you can accept that. You know what I mean?
That's a good point you make, actually. Oh, she's a problem though, because she loves everything.
Yeah.
So she's not one you can trust to play like and be like, yo, so what do you think? She'll be like, oh, I love it. And I'm like, bruh, as much as I love that, I'm like, at the same time, you know, tell me, you know. But yeah, she loves it. She obviously has favorites. And I think what's nice about her is because she's not in music or in entertainment at all. What's nice about her is that if I play something, she has an objective ear in the sense that she's not listening to, what's the production saying, what's the whatever. She listens to a song and the one that she likes, I'm like, okay, cool, there's something here, you know? Yeah. So that's the trick with her. Yeah.
How do you, my thing is that your life is crazy. As a creative, as a musician, it's that life that like you, if I was a musician, I would like, that's what I would want, right? It's like you kind of meet up with Civic Upstart, you know, and you all do create incredible music. You know, how does that even come around? You know, where for me it sounded, when I look at it, it's like a collective of great musicians. You know what I mean? Who probably were all going their own journey, but there was just something with each one of you. Yeah.
So we met, Zoe and I. Studied together at UCT. We met in first year, and we hit it off immediately. We were singing in, like we would sing with another friend of ours, Ludo, as a keys player, and we were singing, and we do like R&B soul sessions at the different reses at UCT, you know. And yeah, from there, Sebastian comes down from Germany, and he's doing an exchange program because he's a bassist and he's here for a year.
Yeah.
And we just sit in the practice room and just mess around. And after some time, Sebastian's like, yo, guys, I love this. Let's make music. And we're like, cool, bro, whatever. A few months later he comes and he's like, yo, guys, let's go like write some music. We write some music, and a few months later he's like, let's fly to Germany and record it. And literally that's how it happened. And then from there we meet, that was the first album. Then from there we meet Phil, who becomes one of the big producers on the project, and then the different instrumentalists and all that kind of stuff. And from, it's like, it was so organic, you know, studying together. We actually like each other as people, so that helps, obviously. But yeah, that's how that project came together.
I was gonna ask about you gonna say that, right? I mean, you know, like even on the night you played it the first time, I was just like, there's that, you know, that mastering of like theory, songwriting, lyrics, you know. It's almost sometimes hard to make long words really melodic.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. I was determined, eh? Like this word I've had in my chamber waiting to just let it go. And it just doesn't fit anywhere.
Yeah.
With pulchritudinous, it was like, this word, I need to use it, I love it. And I've also like written, you know, love songs is something that people kind of associate with me. And I was like, you know what? I want to write a love song, but it can't just be I love you or beautiful. There's like 5 million beautifuls, you know what I'm saying? So it had to be something special. And then I was like, oh, pulchritudinous, now let's fit it in a melody. And the first, you know, the opening line, pulchritudinous, I was like, oh, perfect. And and then the rest of the song kind of followed suit, you know, like when I say in the pre-chorus, this is actually my favorite part of the song, if I may say so myself. And I say, there are no words or application of an appellation. And I was like, oh, I love that. if I can just, you know, sit back and relax. So I won't lie, and that song came out of nowhere. Like, it was one of those days, after Patient actually, where I was just like, I'm over this. And I heard the guitar loop, and I was like, okay, cool, there's some stuff.
It seems like it's crazy because Patiently, and they've got the same energy from the layering of the vocals, and it seems like you're in a certain headspace at that time. And that really stood out for me because I was like, yo, they're just so angelic, if anything. And with that being said, I think it's also like probably the most streamed song on the EP / album right now. So not only did you get the English word right, the fans love it too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and a lot of people, we have been fortunate that the people at, I don't know if I can say this, but the people at Spotify and Apple have been really kind to us. I mean, I guess they're kind to you if the music is good, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So we've been able to get people like outside of the country and the continent loving pulchritudinous quite a bit. So that's obviously very, you know, encouraging.
It is.
Pulchritudinous is the one that, like I say, it's not the one where I was like, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Maybe initially like, yeah, this is dope.
Yeah.
But the other songs where you look at it and you're like, yeah, probably people are gonna love this.
Which one did you think people were gonna love?
I thought, and shame, like I think people do.
Yeah.
Dance Therapy. For me, it's the groovy, you know, guitar vibe.
Dance Therapy reminded me of Maxwell's Coco Curious.
Thank you.
Yeah, you know, it reminded me of that. You know?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
But obviously maybe it's different generation. I don't know, because people also don't know, you know, back catalog like that. They don't know Maxwell, you know, like that.
Yeah. Because, you know, I heard it, I was like, this is not. Then I was like, damn, but Maxwell is the I was like, so if I say that, I literally need to find the song go.
Exactly.
Yeah. Who inspires you though? You know, I mean, that made me wonder. I was like, I wonder what are some of the inspirations? Who you playing? You know, old, new. You know what I mean?
Yo, fam, I listen to everything. I listen to everything.
Yeah.
So growing up, like I was telling, on the way here actually, I was telling Zwa that I have a gap in my music, like, knowledge. when I was in the Drakensberg.
Yeah.
So you can imagine, no radio, no TV, there's no music videos. We're not watching MTV or Channel, we're not watching anything.
Yeah.
So there's a gap there where my catalog is just Mozart, Bach, Handel, like classical music. That's all it is. So I've got that catalog. And obviously at the time in choir school, we also listened to a lot of ladies like Mambazo. We're listening to, what else? As I get into high school now, maybe I'm starting to discover. So I'd go home and my older brother, he's jamming to Maxwell, Music Soul Child, you know.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like when I saw, okay, cool, like, okay, I actually love R&B and soul, neo soul. So I've got that. I've got Maxwell, I've got, you know, Music Soul Child. And then further back, I mean, I then, when I got to university, because of ethnomusicology and all that kind of stuff, started falling in love with Salif Keita, listened to a bit of Yosundo. So many people. Robert Glasper's Experiment was quite a big deal in university. Carl Shepard, Bokani Dai. Like there's so many people that I listen to consistently. And now I have the privilege to work with a lot of people that I genuinely like the music of. I don't wanna, leave people out, but honestly, like I listen to everything. I listen to a lot of music.
Do you ever feel, I mean, with the
I'm
wealth?
sorry, I don't wanna act like I don't know your catalog as well. But
leave me alone.
No, I have to, because actually, I mean, look, it's gonna sound like I'm kissing your ass, but like, the way that you guys, I was actually again talking to Mza about this a while back, about how you guys used samples, used voices, used harmonies, I think obviously it's ingenious, but like so forward thinking as well. Like there's a lot of people hear music now where there's a lot of vocals and a lot of stacks, and they'll hear my stuff and be like, yo man, you're doing this in a way that's never done before. I'm like, yo though, like the people before us, like the way that Squatter Camp was doing it, like you hear proper, vocal arranging, vocal stacks to make music come alive. Anyway, that's for another day. But
that'll make the computer shut down. Like I can imagine computer is
I can imagine. I can imagine.
We never knew what we were doing though, but it just felt right. Thanks for that, And with that being said, I mean, sorry, I've lost the game. With that being said, I did wanna kind of ask this question where, I mean, you and me, that's what I was trying to say before I got interrupted. You are like, I always ask myself, I go, I want to hear every sound in the world, I wonder if I've heard every sound in the world, musical sound that everyone else is enjoying. Do you ever ask yourself that, is there something I haven't heard in the world?
Yes.
What is it? Piano has got 12 keys, right?
Yes. So piano has 12 keys. And it's crazy like how there's, obviously with the 12 key, there's a tuning system that, we've kind of adapted in modern music, contemporary music, that uses this tuning, like, whatever, how many hertz it is, and, the spaces in between the notes from the bottom up to the highest octaves. And on our continent, a lot of East African Eastern Asian countries have different tuning systems and different instruments. So obviously that means that different sounds are produced. Like, I haven't necessarily been able to use a lot of the stuff that's in the back end right now. The stuff that's, but there's like this instrument called ngoni that I really like, ngoni sounds that I really love. There's a lot of things that I hear and I'm like, pan flutes, for example. I'm always interested in how I can use pan flutes in a way where can be palatable for people that aren't used to hearing that, but also just try, draw inspiration from that space to also just compositionally, I think,
You know what it's like? I mean, in every song on the album, you could send it to somebody to kind of like send a message. But then, like, let's just say if it was like a Will Smith Happy album. And then there's that gangster song where like, about it. And there's Will Smith goes Tupac on you on this one song. You're like, that song, that's the gangster song. That's like the hardest, that's the realest shit you ever wrote type song. That's the song where you're like, I'm not gonna share that
I
one
get
because me and you in this relationship, we're trying to resolve, but this one,
Yeah.
we're gonna leave it. You know what I mean? You know?
Nah, I get you.
Because you could feel all these feelings for one person and share the whole album, but you pull out that song because that one literally doesn't fix our things.
No, it doesn't.
You know?
It really doesn't. And I was hoping that it would make people think. Like, one of the first things I always said about In the Beginning Was the End was, as much as it's like dope music and you must hear it and everything, I'd love it if you hear something, you're like, wait a minute. You need to think, you know what I mean? Like, music does that. Music has always done that, like good music anyway. You said you do enjoy it, but you also think, you're like, yo, what is this person actually? Yo, also me, you know, like, so I think that song, probably more than anything I've done, it will make you think, you know?
If you could literally like buy people an album and they could receive an album as Lego pieces, and each song was a Lego piece, I'd be like, nah, the album ya Manana,
Lego piece nya. That's funny. Yeah.
Yo, man. So what's next? What's the future? Where we going?
We're in album mode now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so in album mode, I mean, like when this project came together, it was just music. So I think now we're more, I don't want to say it's putting pressure on me, but like, I think we're more conscious of the fact that we're working towards an album. The first project was called In the Beginning Was the End. The second one is called What Could the Moments in Between. And the third project it's a capping to this trilogy, because these projects were always going to be, it was going to be a trilogy.
Yeah.
So this short poem is going to be ended off by the final piece. So that's what we're working towards right now. I'm trying to get into rooms with different producers and writers, and also putting together some dates to see people live.
Oh, yeah.
Some intimate shows. I love doing intimate shows, so that's how we're going to do it. Yeah, and then I continue to write for other people, whoever would have me in the room, you know?
Yeah.
That's the plan.
Shout out, man. You're doing a good job, man. Appreciate you. And yeah, man, I think it's so, for me, obviously being in the music game for a minute, it's just always, it's not about the now for me. It's like, I'm excited to see what the tomorrow is gonna look like, you know? With the capabilities of artists like you articulate yourself well. You've already reached the peak of what an artist, at least received an accolade of what an artist is. And now you just like I know I can make it happen. And you understand the concept of long-term game. You know, it's not easy like you say, but the long-term game I think is gonna benefit you, because even when I listen to your album, I'm like, yo, it's just the right ears, man. This is just gonna be bigger. You know, it's just the right ears that are just gonna like really like make that one song become the opening for something bigger. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're gonna walk your own path. That's exciting. That's what's exciting. And you don't know that path, and we all don't know it. But you know, we just wanna be on the side in time. So we're not crowded by everybody else who catches up later. I
appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot. And I appreciate you not just having me, but always having kind words, nothing but kind words. You know, obviously as a young artist, music and the industry isn't kind to everyone. And to be motivated is always tricky, but you know, when someone like Slikour comes to you and is like, yo, fam.
No, but I cried, so it's not even like
I appreciate that, for real, like just the authenticity and being able, like, yeah, I really appreciate that a lot. You know,
shout out,
really,
man.
really.
Shout out. It's good music. Unfortunately, I'm shallow. All that matters to me is music.
Yeah.
And when you get
then I'm shallow too.
Yeah, when you get the music right, to me, the love just goes boom.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I got you.
Yeah, so I appreciate that, man. Keep doing it. And,
Thank you.
And I'm a fan, we fans. And yo, man, go get the album, EP, stream it if you haven't streamed it. And if you don't know, this is Manana, now you know, nigga. Thanks, my brother.
Thank you. Appreciate you so much, really.
Easy, man.
Really, really.
Thank you.
Broadcast live